We got to be able to be careful who we let handle us, handle our life. Got to start all over, but it's not impossible. That's what Humpty Dumpty problem was. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses, all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again. But they should have called somebody else. Because the king horses, what they gonna do? And the king men, they work for the king. Don't just let the king horses and the king men leave me here like this. Go find me a doctor. Go find me somebody with some tape. Go find me somebody with some glue that can pick me up and put me back together again. I'm broken, but I'm not impossible to deal with. Y'all still with me over in the overflow? God knows what he's doing with your life. He puts you on the wheel. The first thing the potter does when he gets the wheel and the clay on it, he gets some water. Because water washes away the impurities. Water solidifies. Water, the process is called slacking. Where the water preserves the clay so it can be used again. The water makes the clay so it can be used again. The water makes the clay so it can be used again. Just like water. I ain't felt this way in years. The water washes away the past. That's why you want to be baptized when you get saved, because it's just the water. You go down in Jesus' name, come back and say, put me on the wheel, because I'm ready to be what you want me to be. Get the water ready. The water is used to preserve it. The clay absorbs the water. The clay is wedged before that, pushed, kneaded, and rejuvenated. The clay is the process starting to rejuvenate and work it, starting over the clay, the kneading process. That's what some of you have been feeling, is kneading. You've been feeling the kneading process. You've been feeling God working on you. You've been feeling him. I know I'm the only one that's been pressed and can feel the pressure. Anybody this week, you felt the pressure. You was like, give me a worship flow. I just wonder, is there anybody here that you was doing fine and all of a sudden you start feeling the pressure. Where's this pressure coming from? Where's this pressure come from? That's God bringing the kneading process. Keep it soft. That's God with the kneading process. Needing to work in your school, needing to get you back on school, needing to get you back on task, needing to get you back in moving and working and in your marriage. The first thing that he does after he kneads the clay and he puts the water on is he centers it on the wheel. He centers it and brings focus to it. Centering is the positioning. He puts it in proper position so it can handle the pressure. If it's not centered on the wheel, it'll be lopsided and lean, but he centers it in the wheel. Y'all ain't hearing what I'm saying. Anybody centered in the wheel? Anybody centered in the will of God today? He centers it in the wheel. He centers it in the wheel. He centers it in the wheel. He centers it in the wheel and puts it in proper position because he's preparing it for where it's about to go. Y'all ain't hearing what I'm saying. It says it's not get ready and it's not get something ready for me, but get me ready for something. Y'all ain't hearing what I'm saying. It puts it in that place and it rotates the pressure. It rotates with pressure. And this is what I said about the revolution, because pressure in one place puts pressure everywhere. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? He doesn't have to put pressure all around, because as long as the wheel turns, he just puts pressure in one place. And pressure in one place is pressure applied everywhere. There's pressure everywhere. So that's why you feel like, man, I go to work and I got pressure. Man, I go to school and I got pressure. Man, I go home and I got pressure. Man, my money got pressure. My job got pressure. Everywhere I turn, I got pressure. But that's because God said, I need to even you out. I don't want you to be lopsided. I don't want you to be turned upside down. I need to even you out. Don't worry. You're built for this. You can handle it. You can handle the pressure. You can take it. All you got to do is stay on the wheel. 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 You can handle the pressure. Pressure. Somebody say pressure one place is pressure everywhere. Pressure one place is pressure everywhere. He's constantly pushing it. He's constantly pushing it towards the center. Constantly pushing it towards the center. Why? Because the stiffer the clay, the harder the push. I said the stiffer the clay, the harder the push. The stiffer the clay, the more stubborn you are, the harder the push. The more stubborn you are, the harder the push. The stiffer you are, the stiffer your will is. The stiffer you want to do it your way. The stiffer you want to handle it your way. The stiffer you want to keep your mess in God too. The stiffer that you want to be disobedient. The stiffer you want to go your way. Then God said, I got to push harder. Why? Because I'm not letting you off the wheel. I'm not giving up on you. I'm not quitting on you. So I can't throw you away. So all I can do is push harder. I push until your relationships change. I push until your habits change. I push until your mind change. Because the stiffer you are, the harder the push. The stiffer you are, the harder the push. Each push changes the shape. Each push changes the shape. And every time you get a shape, then you add more water. Add more water to soothe. More water to soothe. I know that was tough, but let me soothe you. Let me put you back in worship. Y'all ain't hearing me when I'm saying. Let me get you back together. I know that was tough. And then the second process, this is called opening. Somebody say opening. After the centering, the opening process. Because I told you God is getting you ready for something. So in order for him to be able to put something in you, he got to open you. You can't get nothing. You can't get nothing. You can't receive nothing if you're not open. So opening presses the top and the middle, stretching, and preparing it to move something, preparing it to hold something, preparing it for something useful, The opening. Anybody been getting open? You feel like God is preparing me for something. I can't contain what I gotta contain the way I am. So that's why God had to press me so he can open me up. He had to get my will open, get my mind open, get my perspective open, because he's making me a vessel. The opening process. If you wasn't carrying anything, you would need to be open. You can stay closed if you wasn't carrying anything, but in order for it to be a vessel, you got to be open. So pressure someplace causes pressure every place and opens you up, centering, opening. Now the third process, after the opening process, after he opens you up, after he stretches you. God, I feel you've been stretching somebody today. God's been stretching you, but that's okay, because he's stretching you because he's preparing you to receive something. He's making you useful. Anybody want to be used by God in here? Anybody want to be used by God for here? The third process, somebody say number three. Number three is called pulling. The pulling process. The pulling process keep it worship. The pulling process stretches and gives shape or definition. Stretches and giving shape or definition. Stretches or giving shape and definition. Up out of what was, now comes something new. Oh God, up out of right before your very eyes. Some of y'all been pulled and right before people's very eyes, God changed you. They was looking at you and they saw you one way, and then they noticed you. They was like, it's something different about you. It's something different. Yep, you said I couldn't change, but God was pulling me. He was getting me together. He was getting me up. I thought I was falling, but he kept holding me up, pulling me and getting me ready for something. Tap your neighbor and tell him, I'm getting ready for something. I'm getting ready for something. So I dare you shout, Lord, work it out. Lord, work it out. Somebody tell the Lord, I dare you to present yourself on the wheel and lift your hands and say, work it out, Lord. Work it out. Here I am. Work it out. 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 Come on, tell the Lord you want him to work it out. Work it, work it, work it, work it, work it, work it, work it. The thing about the pulling process is, this is the process that creates uniqueness. This process separates it from other pots. You can't pull two pots the same way because the clay gonna give differently.